No, don't drink that. It's poison. Does chess have a poisoned pill? Well, not really, but we do have a poisoned pawn. For whatever reason, this b pawn, especially white's b pawn, the b2 pawn, is often too dangerous to capture. Today, we're going to look at several openings where capturing this pawn might be a little bit too risky. Now, this first one is Funmaster Mike's own game when I was only about 8 years old. I was white, and I was playing against the French defense. My opponent played queen b6. Seems very logical after all. Double attack on my weak spot and you're threatening my b pawn. But as I've already let you know, the b pawn can often be poisoned. So gotta guard the f2 pawn. That one's way too close to my heart. I decided to castle and now black mistakenly captured. Now, why is it a danger to capture this b2 pawn? Well, number one, sometimes your queen gets trapped. We're not going to look at any queen traps today, but you can already see, for example, if my queen got to d2 and my rook slid over, this queen is running very short on squares. That wasn't my idea in this game. The main reason taking this pawn is painful or poisonous is because your queen gets too far out of the action, you lose a bunch of tempos, and she can't get back to where the battle is. So the way to take advantage of queen takes b2 here is to play knight to b5. I am already threatening to play the move knight to c7, forking the king and the rook, and again, this idea of queen d2 and putting my rook on f1 on b1 might trap the queen. So I kind of tricked my opponent here because castling looks like a good way to stop the fork, but remember our old friend, Mr. Greek Gift? Yeah, Greece has not gone away. Still a country. I decided to play knight c7 first. Okay, attack the rook. And then, we all know the Greek gift. Bishop takes h7, king takes knight check, and look how far out of the game this queen is. She cannot get back in defense. Now the king moved back to g8. Got to be a little careful here because in the Greek gift video, we almost always put our queen on h5, but notice black's queen actually will take the pawn and guard the checkmate on h7. Luckily, queen d3 is a winning move because when my opponent tried to block the checkmate on h7 with pawn f5, now my queen slid over and I tricked him. If he takes the pawn now, of course his queen is blocked by his own pawn, and the game ended with checkmate very quickly after. He tried to give his king some luft, but after queen h7 and queen h8 and queen takes, it's actually mate right away. This knight magically guards the e8 square. So a really good example where I give away the b pawn and I simply get his queen out of the game. Now in our next example, this one comes from the Banco Gambit, and here it's crazy position. Seems like black should take this pawn at some point in castle. In fact, the safest move for black is to play d5, try to capture the pawn at some point and get his king to safety. But instead, black got greedy and ate the poison. So white said, the king is stuck in the middle of the board, the queen is out of play. I can actually offer an exchange to go after you. White played knight takes, which does open up the battery. So black accepted the rook, turns out to be a poison rook too. But before we trade queens, we first get the king a little bit wobbly. We play knight to d6. Only move is king takes, and then bishop check. The queen magically guards the knight, which means this king is coming on a little walk. He decided to play the move king to e6. He can't back up because the rook needs to continue guarding this bishop. So when the king came on a walk, we threw in another in-between move. And after f5, white traded queens under his own terms by castling. And although the queens left the board, the black king is not out of the woods. Watch how white continues the attack. He plays e4, putting pp on the pp. And after bishop to d4, trying to block off the protection of the knight, bishop to f4 guarding the knight, and now captures, king f6, bishop g5 check. Look at these minor pieces swimming like sharks around the black king. And after king to g7, knight takes. Here's how the game could have ended. If black captured the rook, we would have had the really neat f6, king g8, and the quiet move, bishop h6. There is no stopping pawn f7 mate in the long run. White went on to win. The most common poisoned pawn game is in something called the Najdorf defense. Here's an example of that. The queen is bearing down on the b2 pawn, but the best move for white is actually to allow the queen to capture. Queen to d2, most common move. And if the queen captures, there's a couple of different ideas. Rook b1 is played a lot, and so is knight b3, basically blocking the queen from getting all the way back to b6 and d8 to defend. Let's look at the knight b3 variation to close out our video here. Queen to a3, bishop takes, pawn takes, bishop e2. Now these next couple of moves you'll notice are a little slow for white. We're not really trapping the queen. Again, we're developing and we're going to start our attack, but the queen's going to be a little bit out of the game. Knight to c6, castles, bishop to d7, and here comes the attack. Rook f3. Lots of ideas. One is to create some sort of discovered attack one day, and the second idea is to make a triple battery on the d file. Rook to c8, king h1, just getting our king off to safety, and after h5, rook to d1, here comes the attack. Pawn to e5, busting open the center. That's what you're supposed to do when your opponent doesn't castle. After f takes, knight to e4. Okay, our knight is eyeing a check, and also we're clearing out some pieces to go for a discovered attack. Queen to b4, knight f6 check, king to d8. We don't want to trade queens when we're attacking, so quick c3. Rook to d3, I told you we'd get that triple battery. And after bishop to e7, it's time to break through. Rook takes d6, offering an exchange, but if you take my rook and my queen takes back, I'm going to get both of your bishops because your d7 bishop is going down also. So black tried bishop takes, and you're thinking, okay, it's a trade, right? Rook takes and the king slides over. But there's a better way to win the bishop back. Rook takes e6, discover attack with the queen. If you take my rook, obviously you get mated. And after rook c7 to guard the mate, white took this bishop. And with the move bishop to g4 coming and the move rook takes f7 coming, I think you can plainly see black is not going to survive this game. Well, there you have it, chess kids. That's an idea that recurs in lots of different openings. Sometimes you can simply let your opponent capture the b-pawn because the queen will either get trapped or she'll be so far away from the action, it'll be like playing down a queen.